Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Going to do a live stream. This will be the first live stream that I've done on this channel, True Crime Updates. And what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to look at give or take 20 articles, unless, of course, I bail midway through. Going to be mostly reading through the entirety of the articles. Maybe I'll skip a little bit here and there. And quite obviously, all of the articles are of a true crime nature. And trigger warning, that does include some pretty dark subjects: murder, torture, sexual abuse. I mean, it's nasty stuff. It's nasty stuff. I don't know if I'm going to get through all of the articles that I've prepared. I've got a few up my sleeve in case I do. So what I'll really be doing is reading through one article at a time, and then should anybody join the live stream in chat, we can have a look at some of the what am I talking about? Comments in chat. So I've given the trigger warnings. I guess things are going to be fairly solemn. It's not a variety show. It's not a game show. It's not strictly entertainment per se in the perhaps the traditional sense. But hopefully you do find some of this interesting, and hopefully we can have a little bit of communication, a little bit of conversation in the chat box, perhaps amongst yourselves, should anybody join. And of course, if anyone does join, or if perhaps you're watching this after the fact, if you think this is halfway decent, if it's worthwhile coming back to visiting us again, then of course do like, comment, subscribe, share the video, join the conversation, and help me on my way to my first 100 subscribers. Woo woo. Alrighty, so um, to give you a bit of an understanding of the articles that we're going to go through in this first little bit, we're going to look at Kim Potter, what's happened with her. She's been found guilty. A kidnapper has been caught um, with a kidnappee who thankfully is alive. So that's good news. There's some further information in regards to the BLM activist Sasha Johnson, who was shot. She's still in hospital. We'll have a look at that. We're going to touch on Travis Scott's deadly Astro World concert. We're not going to go into any of these in very big depth, any real depth. Just a heads up, just kind of skimming over quite a few of them. We're going to be looking at something political. Macron's wife, or maybe we deleted that one. I might have deleted that one. Macron's going to be suing over claims that she's a transgender, but I think we're skipping that one. And we're looking at a little bit of cannibalism as well. Hey, Robert. Roberto. Hope you're doing well this afternoon. Yes, hope you're doing well. Hope all is good. Sit back, relax, Robert. Going to go through a few articles, and we'll just see if this is worthwhile. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's really boring, but we'll find out. Here's the first article. A man has been beaten to death after a sacrilegious attempt to interrupt prayers at Sikhism's holiest shrine, which was caught on live television in India. Okay. So a man has been beaten to death in India after a sacrilegious attempt to interrupt prayers at Sikhism's holiest shrine, which was caught on live television. The unidentified man jumped over a railing into the Golden Temple's inner sanctum during Saturday evening prayers in the city of Amritsar. Footage from inside the temple shows a man wearing blue clothes and a yellow pajri leap over the railing into the inner sanctum and grab a sword kept in front of the Guru Granth Sahib, the Sikh holy book. He is then grabbed by worshippers who violently drag him back over the railing and out of the inner sanctum. So there is footage which the Daily Mail has chosen not to show us, but apparently that footage does show that the man has his hands tied behind his back and he's been beaten and kicked. So we can watch this video of the actual incident. There's no real audio. There's not much audio. So he leaps in, quickly grabbed by more than half a dozen guys, thrown back over the railings, and subsequently taken into a back alley. Some nasty images there, and dealt with further. So police told New Delhi television that the man was killed after the incident and that they were checking CCTV footage to glean more information. The man, about 20 to 25 years of age, had a yellow cloth tied on his head and jumped the fence. The people inside held him and escorted him out to the corridor where there was a violent altercation and he died. That's pretty much that. We don't know why he did it, but he did, and it was a sacrilegious act. And the other fellows, the other religious fellows, didn't really appreciate that, and they decided to beat him until death. So there's that. Not the best way to respect a religion, not the best way to be religious, I would imagine, but it happened nonetheless. Hey, Robert, thanks for joining. And I'm going to make you a mod, Robert. You don't have to act as a mod if you don't want, but you are one. You are one in any case. So hopefully, Robert, you're having a nice Christmas run up. I don't know if you do too much in regards to Christmas. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're not bothered in the least bit. But we're going to move on to the next subject, which is quite a hot topic, as it were. It's big news in America. A United States lady cop, who said she confused a taser for a gun, has been found guilty of manslaughter. So there she is, Kim Potter. Jurors have convicted a suburban Minneapolis police officer of 2 manslaughter charges in the killing of Daunte Wright, a black motorist she shot during a traffic stop after she said she confused her gun for a taser. She confused her gun for her taser. She took out her gun when she thought it was her taser. The mostly white jury deliberated for about 4 days before finding former Brooklyn Center officer Kim Potter guilty of both first-degree and second-degree manslaughter. Potter, 49, faces about 7 years in prison on the most serious counts under the state sentencing guidelines, but prosecutors said they would seek a longer term. Judge Regina Chu ordered Potter taken into custody and held without bail and scheduled her to be sentenced on February the 18th. Potter, who testified that she didn't want to hurt anybody, looked down without showing any visible reaction when the verdicts were read. As Chu thanked the jury, Potter made the sign of the cross. Potter's attorneys argued against her being held with no bail, saying she was not going to commit another crime or go anywhere. Her remorse and regret for the incident is overwhelming, Potter's attorney said. She's not a danger to the public whatsoever. That's pretty much all of the article that I want to go through. Hey, Infinite. Yeah, that's pretty much all of the article that I want to go through. So she's shot and killed the person. She took out her gun. She thought it was her taser. And, she said to the assailant, if that's the right term, she said, if you don't get out of the car, I'm going to tase you. And then she said, taser, taser, taser. But she fired her gun, and subsequently the gentleman died. So she's been found guilty of first-degree manslaughter in the main. That's the most relevant, the most the crime with the sentence. The crime with the most punishment attached to it, the larger sentence. And the article says, for first-degree manslaughter, prosecutors had to prove that Potter caused Mr. Wright's death while committing a misdemeanor. In this case, the reckless handling or use of a firearm so as to endanger the safety of another with such force and violence that death or great bodily harm to any person was reasonably foreseeable. So in essence, pardon my French, but she fucked up. She fucked up royally. She took out her gun, thinking it was her taser, according to her, and she fired her gun, thinking she was firing her taser. But she was grossly wrong. She killed the man, and she's been found guilty of that. And as the article tells us, the maximum for first-degree manslaughter is 15 years in jail. So I don't know. I personally I find it a little bit of a confusing subject. I do feel sorry for the lady. I mean, absolutely, it was negligence in my mind. I'm just going to go off on a tangent and give my rubbish opinion in regards to the subject. It's negligence. It certainly wasn't purposeful. It wasn't murder, in my opinion. It was due to negligence. She thought she was about to tase the man, and she didn't. She got it wrong due to negligence. She fired, and she fired her gun. So, does she deserve punishment for that mistake? Yes, she does deserve punishment for that mistake. But at the same time, I think some level of leniency ought to be given to police officers that you know, are in this kind of situation, in my opinion, because it's so difficult to be a police officer, I would imagine. So, I think mistakes are likely going to happen. And I think the police need a little bit of leniency as and when that does occur. Not too much necessarily, but it's a gross accident, and regrettably, seeing as we're all humans, accidents do happen. So there's my take on it. Hi, Infinite Beauty. My notifications are delayed for whatever reason. Just accidentally seen your live. It's been pretty quiet all night. Oh, is it? Whereabouts are you based, Infinite? Um, I'll have to replay the live from the beginning. I only just started a minute ago, literally 12 minutes ago. So no, you've not missed anything. We've missed 1.5 articles. No big deal. I don't believe this cop should do any jail time. She is genuinely sorry and made a mistake. I'd rather see her pay a hefty fine. Yeah, okay. I appreciate your comment there, Infinite. I appreciate you expressing your opinion. Um, you don't think she should do any jail time? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think there should be punishment, and someone did die, so I don't know if a fine quite cuts it. Um, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, what does a jail sentence serve to prove? I think it's a little bit of showmanship. It's a little bit of grandstanding, political grandstanding, jailing this police woman. Arguably because she's white. Some people would suggest that because she's inadvertently killed a black man, and you know the government, the police authorities have got to be seen making a stand against that. Particularly as it happened in Minneapolis during the George Floyd trial. Bots are on the loose. Yes, they are, but not anymore. They've been booted, summarily booted. Police need more rights. Well, I mean, I remember reading about America being a police state decades ago. And I guess that's still continued and arguably proliferated. Um, so do they need more rights? Arguably not, but I think they need leniency to some degree. My name is Sophia. Hey, Sophia, I'll probably forget that. Apologies, Infinite. My memory banks for names isn't so good. I'm in New York City. Okay, well, I'll try to remember that. Yes, she made a bad mistake and killed a criminal. fighting and running from arrest by law enforcement. I think some jail time, but like a year or two. Yeah, that's kind of what I'd be thinking, Robert. Some jail time. I think it's appropriate to experience the harshness of some jail time, but it doesn't need to be a lengthy sentence in my mind. I did see another article headline saying that she's been sentenced, or whatever the correct term is, to a fairly lightweight prison. And I've obviously explained that very poorly, but a prison for non-serious offenders. If scumbags just obey authority, none of this would have happened. Yeah, I agree with that. I've had a few accidental run-ins with the police. None ever shot me. I obeyed like a submissive son of a bitch and got myself out of a situation swiftly with respect. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Infinite, I fully agree and appreciate your words there. I mean, I'm no expert, but when we have seen these videos, I've not looked at this case, Robert, and since it came out, so I can't remember the full details, and I'm just going through things fairly briefly. I'm not trying to pretend to be an expert at any of the given topics. But yeah, time and time again, we see. I mean, should I say it? Should I really go there straight away? In particular, apparently, or the media that I'm seeing is in particular the black criminals, or the black alleged criminals, time and time again are behaving in these whatever the word would be. I was going to say disrespectful, but in these ways which are uncooperative towards the police officers. I mean, there was that one incident last year, I believe, where a black man was shot trying to drive into some other police officers. Well, hello, what do you think is going to happen? You know, all he had to do was just not drive into other police officers, and he would have been fine if he had submitted, if he had cooperated, and just accept the fact that he's run into the face of the law, and he's likely going to get some comeuppance. So just take it on the chin and deal with it. If you can't handle the time, don't do the crime. Isn't that right, Robert? Okay, so we're going to move on to this other article after we read Infinite's comment. There's a channel called Tommy Sotomayor, black gentleman who continuously calls out the negative behavior in the black community. Yes, he's quite the philosopher, Tommy Sotomayor. I've not seen too much of his videos on YouTube, but I have every now and then, and so I've seen some of his quotes every now and then. And there's also Jesse Lee Peterson. I'll type his name. He's a black guy, Jesse Lee Peterson, who also calls out whatever the word is, but the weaknesses within the black community in America, the modern black community. And he grew up during a period of, what's that term? Something crow. I forget. It's off the tip of my tongue. Those laws, something crow, Robert, but where there were some laws which were racist in nature, still some level of segregation. He literally grew up on a cotton plantation, if I recall, and he feels that the black community in America was faring a lot better back in the previous times, in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and has failed more recently. Anyhow, yeah, Jesse Lee Peterson, he does a talk-in show. He's very popular, and he's quite funny. He calls out snowflakes, and he interviews people that get in a tizzy. Jim Crow laws, yeah, that's it. So yeah, check out Jesse Lee Peterson. Thatcher Saxior says hello, and you might as well say goodbye because you're gone. All right. Okay, so let's gonna have a look at this next article. Robert, are you there drinking a glass of wine? Are you having a beer? What are you up to? Kidnapper, 39 years of age, asked judge to release him from jail because it would be nice to go home for Christmas and see his kids after he abducted and raped a student, 19 years of age, who was found naked and covered in coal dust in his basement. So I'm going to say, first off, it's quite tremendous. It's perhaps a better word than that. That Madeleine Allen has been found alive. I mean, I guess safe and well too, although she's been a victim of an horrendous kidnapping and rape, allegedly. So hopefully I don't come across as too flippant when I read through these articles. My nature is to try to have a little bit of fun every now and then, but of course, first and foremost, I must be respectful to the victims of all of these articles that I'm going to read through. You're having some wine, Infinite. What type of wine are you having ce soir? A Utah man made his initial court appearance on Thursday for the kidnapping of a 19-year-old college student who authorities say was found naked and covered in coal in his basement 5 days after leaving her dorm room to meet him. Brent Brown, 39 years of age. This guy here, if we can try to get a better picture of this guy, 39 years of age, pleaded with a 6th district court judge to release him on bail so that he could spend Christmas with his children. He was speaking via video link from the Sevier County Jail, where he has been held from the time of his arrest on Saturday. Brown faces charges of obstruction of justice, aggravated kidnapping, rape, and object rape, targeting 19-year-old Snow College student Madeleine Allen. This young lady, whom he had met in an online fetish chat room. Brown allegedly took away Allen's wallet and phone, forced her to strip naked, and tied her up while he was at work, later claiming that it was part of a kidnapping roleplay. The teen, 19 years of age, also accused her captor of threatening her family. The judge appointed an attorney to represent Brown and ordered him held without bail, which is a good thing, citing his being wanted on a felony warrant from another county and posing a possible threat to the community. When given a chance to weigh in on the bail, Brown said, "It would be nice to go home for Christmas. I don't get to see my kids." Brown is due back in court for a combined detention and preliminary hearing on January the 10th. So here's a video. Where is the video? There is a video of the last time the young lady was seen before her rescue. The video doesn't seem to want to work, so we'll move past that. And we'll go back to the article. During a press conference on Saturday night, Allen's overjoyed parents recounted how they fell to their knees after getting a call from the police, telling them that their daughter had been found alive. Allen met Brown, the alleged kidnapper and rapist, in a group chat on the messaging app Kik and agreed to have him pick her up on December the 13th. Snow College security video showed Allen leaving her dormitory after 9:20 p.m. last Monday. When Allen failed to return home the next morning, her roommates filed a missing person report. Investigators learned that Allen has been struggling with depression and anxiety and that she's been using dating apps. A search of her phone records revealed text message exchanges of a violent sexual nature. While police were looking for Allen, she was at Brown's home nearly 90 miles away, where the relationship between the college student and her date became non-consensual and violent. The affidavit stated that Brown took away Allen's phone, allowing her only to text her family the words, "I love you," on December the 14th, a message that alarmed her parents and siblings, prompting them to go to the authorities. Brown allegedly tied up Allen while he was at work, took away her wallet, and threatened to come after her family and sister if she were to tell anyone about him. After Brown learned that the police were looking for Allen, he threw away her phone, but not before the authorities were able to use cell phone tower data associated with her to track her down. So we'll just skim through some of the rest of the article. But I mean, to me, she looks such a sweet young lady. She looks very young to me. She is 19. 19 is very young, but she looks even younger, in my opinion, for whatever that's worth. So the police knocked on the alleged kidnapper's door, and they went in. They searched. They found an identification card belonging to the girl, and the police subsequently did a thorough search of the residence, and luckily they found her alive in the coal room, and she was naked and covered in coal, but thankfully alive. I mean, that's, to me, that's a tremendous outcome when, as far as I understand, so many of these cases do result in murder. And yeah, so the student has claimed that her alleged captor raped her several times a day, even though she didn't want to have sex with him, and he once choked her. So severe sexual abuse and physical abuse. But again, thankfully, she's been found alive. She's been to hospital. She's reunited with her family, and her family, of course, are ecstatic. Her parents have said that we were so grateful, elated, we couldn't describe the feelings that we had as we embraced each other. So there's that article there, which is obviously very harrowing. We wish her the best of luck in her recovery. She's going to need a lot of help, Madeline Allen. She's going to need a lot of psychological help, I would imagine. And let's hope that there is an adequate trial and justice comes to pass. And should it be the case that the alleged Brown is found guilty, let's hope that he's jailed for an extremely long time. Okay, so there's that article. We're just going to have a look at what our good friends Robert and Infinite are saying. So Robert's having tea and Infinite's having some wine. JJ Buckley was gifted to me by my siblings. I'm not aware of that. I guess that's some wine. That girl that went missing was found. She came from a family of what we considered a cult. Polygamy. This girl, oh, I didn't know that. I hadn't read that. Brown deserves to have done to him, minute by minute, 10 times to what he's done to his victim. He was too comfortable with keeping her hostage. I believe he has other victims, and God forbid, has MRD murdered someone. Yeah, I mean, you would imagine that. I get what you mean, Infinite. He does seem a little bit comfortable with this, doesn't he? That's my reading on it too. Like, he's just casually kidnapped someone for quite some time, threatened their family, and raped them multiple times. I don't know. There's just an air of casualness going on there. I cannot begin to understand the ultimate immense amount of fear she was experiencing every waking second. Yes. I'm sure she didn't pull his eyeballs out. I'm sorry she didn't pull his eyeballs out. Yes. Well, perhaps someone will. Robert, I apologize. I get passionate about innocent people being harmed. You never know. Next year, she might be back on that website looking for another role play bondage partner. Well, I mean, Robert, you're. I think you're right. Maybe this isn't what you're suggesting, but there hasn't been a court case yet. It is possible, no matter how unlikely we may think, it is possible that the guy's innocent. It is possible that it was a sexual liaison. Can't think of the right words. My brain kind of fails. But I don't know, Robert. I'm thinking that I'm thinking that the lady was held captive. She was found naked in a coal room. I don't know. It seems a little bit extreme for me to be fun and games would be my feeling. I'm sorry for laughing. If she does, then fuck her. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so let's move on to the next article. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Appreciate that. Um, Four men deny conspiracy to the murder of Black Panther of Oxford, Sasha Johnson, who's a BLM activist, and she remains in hospital 7 months after being shot in the head by gate crashers at a Peckham party. Peckham is in London, England. And so this happened earlier this year on May the 23rd. Four men have denied a plot to murder Black Lives Matter activist Sasha Johnson, who is still in hospital 7 months after being shot in the head at a house party. The mother of two, 27 years of age, dubbed the Black Panther of Oxford, was shot in the head at a 30th birthday party in Peckham, South London, early on Sunday, May the 23rd, and was left in a critical condition. On the night of the attack, security guards challenged four people who had gained entry to the party. A gun was fired during the confrontation, leaving one guard shot in the leg and Miss Johnson shot in the head. The four accused are all alleged to have been involved in a plot connected to the shooting, and they're aged between 18 and 25. They all deny conspiracy to murder and possession of a firearm and ammunition with intent to endanger life. So they're all saying that they're innocent boys, that they were there just to have a little bit of fun, and they have no idea how Sasha Johnson got shot in the head. That's seemingly what they're saying. There's the house party. I mean, to me, this is perhaps a bit of a rundown house. Maybe. I mean, the house looks nice, but you know, the garden wall seems a little bit worse for wear. I don't know. I just find this surprising that there would be security guards at a party in a residence like this. That seems a little bit odd to me. Um, was it a purposeful attack? Was it an accidental? I mean, that's what the court case is for. You've got to imagine someone had the gun. One of them had the gun, presumably, or one of their other cohorts. Someone must be guilty of firing a shot, which has, essentially destroyed this young lady's life. Really, she's still in hospital. I don't know what her recovery status is, but I would imagine that she's got a long road ahead of her. So we wish her the best of luck, and we wish again justice is served, that all, or at least the appropriate guilty parties, are convicted. And if that is the case, we hope that they get long sentences, so that justice is served. She may have been talking with him online for days or weeks before meeting him. We may never know. Yes. Well, I mean, that article did say she was active on various social media in regards to violent sexual liaisons. Um, so, so yeah, I mean, it is possible. We know that BDSM is a thing, and it goes a lot more extreme than many of us are aware of. So you're right, Robert. It could actually be the gentleman concerned could be innocent. It could have been a consensual act, and potentially she's embarrassed at this point, and to save her shame, she's blaming the alleged kidnapper. But perhaps it's all part of the charade. You could be right. Not real license security, probably just some fool she appointed. Yes. Us men can be fools from time, especially when it involves an attractive lady. Okay, so let's move on to the next article. Um, again, I'm not going to be going through things in full depth. Maybe this is a topic you've looked into more thoroughly than myself. I've looked into it quite thoroughly, though, but not for the last few days. Congress is investigating Travis Scott's deadly Astro World concert. So, a congressional committee has launched an investigation into the promoter of the Astroworld Music Festival in Houston, in which 10 people were killed during a massive crowd surge, and attendees were packed so tightly that many could not breathe or move their arms. The House Oversight and Reform Committee sent a letter Wednesday to Live Nation Entertainment, which is the organization which promoted the event. So the committee sent a letter to Live Nation Entertainment's president and CEO, Michael Rapino, asking for information about the company's role in the November the 5th festival and concerts held by rap superstar Travis Scott. Information the committee requested included details about security, crowd control, and mass casualty incident planning, details about any pre-show briefings by Live Nation or its subsidiaries, or any safety concerns, and what steps the concert promoter will take to prevent injuries or deaths at future events. So essentially, there's this committee. It's going to be looking, it's going to be scrutinizing in depth the company which was responsible for the organization of the festival, of the event, of the show, which led to the death of 10 people. Um, which led to the death of 10 people. And I guess no one can object to that. I guess we can all agree that that's a good thing, that there is going to be a thorough investigation held at the organizers. I mean, I've got to presume that the organizers are ultimately those that are responsible, despite a lot of people pointing the finger at Travis Scott. And I'm not suggesting that he's entirely without blame, but it seems to me to be a little bit foolish to overlook the company involved in organizing the whole event. Um, yeah, so the article tells us that 300 people were injured and treated at the festival site. 25 were taken to hospitals. Officials announced that the people killed at the concert died from compression asphyxia. A medical expert says the pressure from the crowd surge at the event was so great that it quickly squeezed all the air from the lungs of the victims, causing them to pass out within a minute or so and die because critical organs such as the heart and brain were depleted of oxygen. And you've probably seen some videos of the young people lying on the ground having seizures and subsequently dying. Um, and I've seen that too. And to me, the most compelling bit of video that I saw was just a couple of days ago. I saw an aerial video of the crowd surge, and it's foolish me. I thought that a crowd surge would only really have an impact at the front of the stage, where the potential is that those in the crowd could be crushed against the security barriers. But that's not the case. Seemingly, it seems that the crowd surge when there's overcrowding um, really starts all the way from, or can start all the way from the back of the audience, through the middle, through to the front, and people in various places within that stream, or a stream of people, can be crushed to one extent or another. So, it, you know, I don't really know what to say, but to me, I think that the cause for where we should point the finger at of blame, the finger of blame, should be pointed at the organizers and not at the artists concerned, or not necessarily at the artists concerned. There's footage of Travis waiting for medical people to attend to those that he saw were hurt. There's previous video evidence of Travis being an extremely naughty boy and, ignoring people that have been hurt at previous concerts. But I saw some indications that he was trying, in this case, at least in my opinion. So there's that article there. And let's have a quick look at some of Infinite Beauty's comments. God forgive me, I admit to being biased. I'm not racist, but hang on, let's be careful reading this. There's a saying I go by when it is pertaining to a certain group of people where there's more than all right, let's not I'm submissive. Oh, hang on, we going there, are we Infinite? I'm submissive, but I don't ever care to be placed under a pile of coal. Yeah, that would be a bit of an odd kink, I would concur. There should be a limited headcount on how many people can safely attend any sort of concert. Well, there is. I mean, as far as I'm aware, yeah, all of these facilities, they are authorized to a certain point, and police attend. In this concert, I believe police attended and spoke with Travis Scott as well as other people involved with the organization of the event, about safety and other things. It's just that there was significant overcrowding. There were people that were literally jumping the fences, the barriers, um, and at least hundreds of people did that, potentially thousands. So to me, I don't know. I've read that there's multiple $1 billion. I think at least $2 billion worth of lawsuits being thrown at Travis Scott as an individual. He doesn't have that kind of money. He's probably got $500 million. But to me, it just seems like the company involved, the company which sole purpose is to produce live events, those would be the ones liable. I would have thought. What the heck do I know? Sorry about that comment. That's fine, Infinite. I do enjoy a little bit of I'll say banter, and I like people expressing themselves. So yeah, that's no worries per se. Obviously, I can't necessarily agree with everything that is said. I agree that coal dust is like beach sand, gets everywhere. So no coal for Robert. How do you know it gets everywhere, Cole? Robert, how do you know that? Have you experienced a similar event yourself? Alleged cannibal is believed. An alleged cannibal believed eating victims' remains would cure his brain. An Idaho man charged with murder and cannibalism in the death of a 70-year-old man allegedly believed that eating the victim's flesh would cure his brain. James David Russell, this guy, 39 years of age, is accused of killing David Flagey in September after tissue belonging to the victim was found inside Russell's home in Clark Fork, the Bonners Ferry Herald reported. Russell was taken into custody after authorities found Flagey's body in a vehicle outside the alleged killer's home on September the 10th. Newly released court documents revealed some of the victim's remains were missing when his body was found. Authorities said Russell believed he could heal himself by cutting off portions of flesh in order to cure his brain. During the investigation, police allegedly seized a blood-soaked microwave, glass bowl, and knife from Russell's home. There was evidence that a cleanup kit was used to dispose of remains and evidence, authorities said. Some of Flagey's remains still haven't been found. It wasn't immediately clear what remains were still missing. So there are parts of his body missing, but they're not telling us which parts. Russell was arrested on the murder charge in September, but prosecutors added the cannibalism charge last week. Bonner County Detective Philip Stella said it is believed to be the first cannibalism charge in the state. It was the bloodiest crime scene, but it's more of the psychological. What the heck is going on here? Why am I picking up pieces? It's a walk down the dark path that we don't see very often. And he's scheduled for a review hearing on December the 28th. So there's a case of cannibalism. In fact, the first case of cannibalism in this area, which is in Idaho, if I'm understanding this correctly. So this cannibal thought it would help his medical condition, his mental condition, if he was to eat the flesh of a fellow human. We don't know if his theory was proven correct or not, but I would guess that it wasn't. So we hope that the judge finds what actually happened and that justice is served. Okay. Infinite is talking about Cole getting in between the butt cheeks, which is better than what she could have mentioned. So I will take that one. God forbid he had in mind to set the coal on fire with her underneath it. Oh my gosh, don't think that. But Infinite, I mean, we've seen, certainly I've seen, regrettably, similar to that. Videos of ISIS, nasty videos of ISIS members burning alive their hostages. It does happen. Unfortunately, people genuinely do scare me. In all honesty, I keep a tiny small circle of those I trust and love around me. Seldomly do I allow anyone into my life so easily anymore. Yes, caged and just a little bit wary of people. Yeah, I mean, I think as children we don't have that, but we develop that thick skin. The more that we get burned by friends, family, and whomever else decides to burn us. I don't mean literally. He ate the missing pieces. Check his stools for DNA. Thanks for the advice, Robert. But you're probably completely correct. Probably completely correct that that is the means to confirm what indeed he had. How are we doing so far? Are we doing all right? We're 50 minutes in. We're 50 minutes in. It's just the three of us. It's a nice cozy affair. How are we doing? Are we having fun? Is this worthwhile, or are we all bored? Should we go away and do something else? Shall we continue, guys? Presuming your answer is yes, and it doesn't have to be. If we are going to continue, then we're going to look at these articles next. You see how prepared I am, Robert? I've even written up a little document. Aren't I professional, don't you think? So there we go. That's what we're going to be looking at next. Some more murders. Property developer, 37 years of age, appears at the Old Bailey, which is in England, accused of murdering and decapitating a Malaysian pensioner, 67 years of age, in London, and then driving 250 miles to dump headless body in Devon Woods. A female property developer, this lady here, Gemma Mitchell, has been accused of cutting off a Malaysian pensioner's head. This lady here, whose name is Mi Kun Chong, she's Malaysian. And forgive me if this is disrespectful, but doesn't she look a little bit like Roseanne Barr? Doesn't she? To me, I mean that as a compliment. Anyhow, Gemma Mitchell, 37, allegedly murdered Mi Kung Chong in London and drove more than 250 miles to dump the 67-year-old's body in Woodland in Devon. Mrs. Chong, who was known to friends as Deborah and lived in Wembley, was reported missing on June the 11th. Police launched a murder probe after her headless body was found by a dog walker in Woodland near Salcombe on June the 27th. She was reported missing on the 11th of June, but it wasn't until the 27th of June her headless body was discovered by a family member walking their dog in Devon. Mitchell has been remanded in custody ahead of a trial on September the 26th next year, and she denies murder. She denies murder. So the court case hasn't happened. It hasn't happened for a while yet, or it's not going to happen for a while yet. Another 9-10 months or so. She'll be held in jail, in prison until that time. Is she guilty of murdering and beheading this lady? I mean, hopefully the trial will get to the bottom of things. But that's quite a heinous act. I've heard of beheadings. Again, we can think back to ISIS, where they're involved with a lot of beheadings. But I've not seen too many situations where a woman has been accused or found guilty of beheading. So again, we hope that justice is served, that the court case is able to get to the bottom, and if Gemma Mitchell is found guilty, we hope and expect that she receives an extremely long sentence. Of course, condolences to the family of the victim, and we hope that Satan has a place for Gemma, for her to stay for the rest of eternity in hell. Infinite's confident that she's guilty of beheading the lady. Yeah, I mean, I read through these articles, and frankly, I just take most of it as being a given. I just think that the police aren't going to arrest someone unless they have a good amount of evidence. That's my naive take on things. It's a shame you don't have so much more people here, because you're intelligent and so kind, not to mention how great you speak when telling these stories and speaking about things. Okay, Infinite is she's calling out to be made a mod. Are you calling to be made a mod, Infinite? You're giving me so many compliments. Appreciate that. I'm not necessarily so kind. I'm a decent fellow, but I'm not as empathetic as, I might as well say it, as most women, let's say. And from my exposure of other people in the true crime YouTube community, those people that make true crime videos, they seem to be more empathetic than me. So I'm not trying to portray myself as being hugely empathetic. But having said that, these stories are harrowing, especially some that we'll go through in a minute where there are children involved. And you can't help but have your heartstrings pulled, and things really become solemn at that point. It's a threesome. It's all good times. That's right, Robert. That's right. There's nothing wrong with that. Any of you two like science, such as interested and curious when it comes to space? Yes, I'm interested in space. I'm not a scientist, but I read quite a bit about SpaceX. I haven't so much the last couple of months, but I'm a big Elon Musk fan, and I think he's going to do what he set out to do. There will be some development on Mars. Really, wine has kicked in. This is when I get silly, and I won't mention what else. We know what else, Infinite. You don't need to mention it. We know. And yes, Robert likes space too. Robert has some experience with space originated vehicles. Okay. I'm intrigued by space and all that's out there. Yeah, I'm intrigued. Not to a huge amount, because I get confused by it all very, very quickly. But I do believe in UFOs, and I believe Elon Musk is hugely intelligent, and is likely to take us to Mars, to build a colony in Mars, to whatever extent. But he's going to make that step, and I think, as he says, it's a pretty important step. Having mankind on an entirely different planet, it's not a small thing. It's as monumental as you can get, really. Hell has a special melting pot for evil people. Not even Lucifer is that evil. God sent him to hell to punish scumbags. Right? He's just the hired help, is he? Satan. I didn't ask to be a mod. I'm blushing. I've heard you be a dominant, strong, opinionated, and how you could easily upset someone. All good. I enjoy poking people at times and going toe to toe. Yeah, I like poking people. I like poking people and having a little bit of a laugh, having a little bit of a joke. I like doing it that, but I also like it out and out to annoy people. I do, and yeah, I don't mind having an argument. Like I'm up for that every now and then, but it can take you into drama that's all a little bit unnecessary. So I try to avoid it generally, going toe to toe with people. But I mean, it is fun whilst it lasts. Typically, if you want to see his other side, just try and tell him he's wrong when he knows without a doubt he's right. Who, me? Well, yeah. I mean, why would I be wrong? That's a bit silly, Robert. I don't think I'd be wrong about anything. Um, Yes, Robert likes UFOs and indeed USOs, unidentified submersible objects. Right, Robert? Yes. So, Infinite, you've subbed to my other account, I'm quite sure, White Cis Male. So thank you for doing that. But yeah, I haven't done live streams regularly on White Cis Male, on my White Cis Male account. But when I do, it's typically less respectful than I'm trying to be today, because it's more politically minded. I call it a healthy debate when trying to learn new things and questioning the one I'm conversing with and peeling away the layers so I can learn a thing or two. Yes, well, okay, well, that sounds very mature. Yes, I tend to question people. Just to, yeah, I guess that's a good way to describe things. Question people, and during that conversation, you do peel away layers, don't you? You just scratch at a topic, and you just dig a little bit deeper. Maybe you discover lots of things, maybe you don't, but typically you'll be able to take away something or other if you at least try to have a mature conversation. A mature conversation in which the parties are trying to come to some level of understanding about the topic concerned, as opposed to just slagging each other off. Um, Although the slagging each other off is fun too. Uh, let's have a look at this article. Yeah, because this is quite a sad article. And of course, condolences to the family concerned. A father, 38 years of age, is shot dead in lawless Los Angeles after he and his neighbors confronted a thief stealing from cars as the city sees homicide soar 52% since 2019, with woke District Attorney George Gascon under fire. A California father of three was shot dead days before Christmas by a burglar he and other neighbors chased down in a Los Angeles suburb. Joey Casillas, 38 years of age, was killed in Covina, about 20 miles outside of Los Angeles, where homicide figures have soared 52% in the past 2 years, and Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon is under fire for his soft on crime policies. Police said that the trouble began December the 21st around 11 p.m. when multiple neighbors on the city's 1100 block of North Charter spotted a man stealing from a parked car. They followed him about half a mile away to the 1800 block of East Covina Boulevard. When the bandit was confronted, he pulled out a gun and fired several rounds, fatally wounding Casillas, who was a UPS driver and a Boy Scouts leader, police said. The crime happened as criticism mounts around Gasson, who continues to be called out for a zero bail policy that some critics say is exacerbating the region's crime problems by freeing criminals to offend, safe in the knowledge they'll be straight back on the streets after. Yes, a zero bail policy basically means that suspects are quickly released from custody after being arrested and booked for the crimes concerned. So, essentially, and this is happening, I believe, in multiple states around America. Um, Seattle, Portland is in Seattle, I think. No, hang on, that's wrong. Portland's in Oregon. And they have, I believe, zero bail policies to their Antifa friends and such. They commit a crime, the police make a record of it, and then they let the criminal go. So that's what's being referenced here. The district attorney is being scrutinized for his soft on crime policies. Back to the article. Police arrested suspected murderer, this guy, Trevor Howard Thompson, 32 years of age, on December the 22nd, following a standoff that lasted hours. The Christmas time killing has left the victim's family facing some gut-wrenching questions from Casillas' children. My granddaughter, when I put her to bed, said, "Please don't tell me my daddy's not going to be here for Christmas." It broke my heart. So obviously, the father has died, and the children are devastated. I mean, the young children aren't going to be able to process it immediately. A GoFundMe has been established for the victim's family, and they described Casillas as the guy that would always give the shirt off his back. He was the guy that would give his last dollar if you needed it. He was the guy that this world needs more of. Father of 3, 5 if you include the pooches. So again, condolences, of course, to the family that must have been absolutely devastated. They've got a very good response to their GoFundMe, $111,000, way in excess of what they were looking for, and that's great. That's great that they have at the very, very least, they have some financial comfort, some financial respite. But it is obviously a terrible, terrible situation. Just because this guy, along with his friends, tried to stop some criminals, some thieves breaking into cars, allegedly, and the response has been for the criminal to turn around and murder, those that are trying to look after the community, the local area, to protect against crime. I don't know. It's an extremely difficult situation. What are you supposed to do if you live in America, or if you live elsewhere in the world? What are you supposed to do when you see crime or you see bad behavior of one sort or another? We're supposed to turn a blind eye, aren't we? We're supposed to not engage. We're supposed to be reliant on the police. And have you ever dealt with the police? I generally like the police. I generally respect the police because I think they've got an extremely difficult job to do. But I no longer feel that way entirely. I think that there's a lot wrong with the police, and I've had some dealings with the police over the last 5 years or so. Several times I've had an incident of one sort or another where I've had to have some police interaction, and I found them pretty fucking useless in the main, really. I found them not to want to help, not to want to listen. I found that their general attitude in Australia, in Sydney, has been to push away any complaint, I presume, so that they don't have to do any work. They don't want to have to invest their time into action which they're not confident is significant or severe or is going to lead to a prosecution or such. So, if as a resident of a place you say, hey there, these guys over here are causing a ruckus, they're knocking bins over, they're intimidating other people, the police aren't going to do anything unless there's a real cause, unless there's some violence or such has taken place. Okay, so we'll have a look at some of Robert's and Infinite's comments. That's the difference between California and Virginia. In Virginia, when he turned around, everybody would be pointing a gun at him. Yeah. Yeah. So is crime low in Virginia? Even, so-called petty crime such as breaking into vehicles is low because people don't want to, criminals don't want to go out breaking the law just to be a so-called victim themselves or be held bang to rights by another resident. I resided in Virginia when stationed there when I was on active duty in the Marine Corps. Hoorah! I have to agree with you, Robert. I live by Quantico's Gunnery Impact Ranges. Oh, okay. I thought you had your own impact ranges there, Robert. People either turn a blind eye, and those who have an immense amount of empathy get immediately involved to help a victim. Yeah, right. Um, yeah, I would. I've tried to get involved. I've gotten involved in a number of incidences, and it doesn't help. It doesn't work. You need backup. You need a community, a neighborhood to be of the same mindset that wrongs ought to be addressed. I've been the only guy in the neighborhood that has tried to address wrongs, and it has not served me well. People don't appreciate it. And, if people feel that, okay, it's me against you, you don't have any backup, I do have backup, then they're not going to back down. So, my take on it is regrettably, turning a blind eye is regrettably the smarter thing to do in many, many cases. Unless the community is going to support those that do get involved. I miss Virginia, one of my favorite states. I want to go to England and flirt with all the handsome English men, both of them, and get myself into some shenanigans. Well, I'm sure you can someday, once the lockdowns are all done and dusted. You can go there and get your flirt on, I'm sure. Crime like that happens around here, but the police are good around here at apprehension, at finding the criminals concerned. You need to pick those you help very carefully. You sound like me. I've tried helping many and never worth it the majority of the time. You wind up being the bad guy and one to get the shitty end of the stick. Yeah, I mean, I've not really I've not in recent times, it's not so much that I've tried to defend other individuals. It's more that I just, I mean, it's more petty things, but I've just seen people do the wrong thing in various ways, illegal things. But in Australia, there's just a very high tolerance of petty crime, extremely high tolerance. People, if you can get away with it, then people let you get away with it. Um, Whereas for me, as someone that's quite pedantic or very pedantic, it really bothers me when people do the wrong thing because if you're there dumping rubbish on the streets or dumping rubbish where you shouldn't be dumping, I'm talking bags of rubbish, as opposed to a candy bar wrapper or such. If you're doing that kind of thing, or you're causing a disturbance at all hours, this type of thing, then it does have an impact on others, and I don't think such behaviors should be tolerated. Need to go to Ireland for shenanigans, don't you? Yes, yes. Oh, shenanigans. Ireland is the home of shenanigans. Best thing to do is pull yourself away and keep your distance from bad company. Yes. Unless you're in a position to defend yourself adequately. And I guess for Robert in Virginia, the laws would be such that he would be in a position to defend himself adequately. For me, not so much, certainly not not when you're against a group of people. It's all very risky and not worth it. And there are some bad people out there that will have weapons, guns, or fight very dirty. I don't want to be getting into a fist fight anyway, not at my age. Um, Although, every now and then. No, not me. You won't see me going to Ireland alone. Scotland, yes. England, yes. Australia, maybe. What? Okay. What have you got against going to Ireland alone, Infinite? Or maybe you shouldn't answer that one. Scotland. Scotland's a lovely place. It's beautiful. Edinburgh is beautiful. And I'm sure many parts of Scotland is beautiful. England, I wouldn't be in a rush to go back to England, to be honest. I would not be in a rush to. Um, Even the nice places just get overcrowded. If that's the beaches or the beach towns or wherever it is, the traffic is crazy. It's not as bad as Los Angeles or whatever. Um, you're either awake early or up too late. No, for me, it's 5:15 in the afternoon in Australia. So, so I am English. I grew up in Angleterre, but I live in Australia. Um, but it is late for you, Infinite. It's 1:15, I believe, in NYC. I know very little about Ireland, to be honest. I'd go just not alone. Right. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Um, Yeah, I don't really know too much about Ireland. I'm sure it is a very nice place. Yeah. You're in Australia. Yes, I didn't know this. Pardon me. Okay, that's fine. You are granted a pardon. So good for that. I'm off to work. I'm off work the next 4 days. Yes, much the same for me. Um, I might be off for the next week and a half or so. So I thought I'd um, do a live stream. I might do a couple more. Now that I've got a whopping 2 people watching me, I might do some more live streams. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, so I'll just read through this topic and then maybe I'll call it quits at this point. We need to promote your channel somehow. I am surprised. I thought some people would come through because I'm getting the impression that the true crime genre is quite popular, and I would have thought that people just scanning YouTube would have seen the true crime live stream and wanted to pop in, but seemingly not. But that's fine. That's fine. You know what? I'm not even going to go through that article. I think I've exhausted myself. So I think I might wrap things up and join you guys join Infinite in a wine. I might do that. I might indeed do that. So I will say good night. I will say good night. So thanks for joining, the both of you, Robert, of course, and Infinite, our new Marine Corps friend who's a sub, and she's from New York City. She might travel to island at some point. I've been watching the true crime slime community for 3 years. You're not known to many, sadly, handsome. Well, I've only started this channel, I think, 2 months ago. So I wouldn't be expected to be known. But yeah, slime community. Yeah, I'm not actually very familiar with the true crime community. But I've come across the likes of Natasha Cooper, Natasha Cooper. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, she's probably the most prominent one that I've come across. But yeah, there's definitely quite a bit of sliminess going on. You're welcome to email me, Hun. Okay, so I will. Should I remove that? Just for your benefit there. So I shall. No, I don't even know how to. You've chosen to put it there, so let's hope you don't get too many dick pics sent to you, Robert. Don't send her too many dick pics, okay? Natasha is a disgrace. Sadly, I know little about the lady. Yeah, I mean, I don't know all there is to know about her, but yeah, she is a disgrace. There's a current. She's been done for fraud, as far as I understand, and there's question marks about her GoFundMe for $20,000. But I perhaps shouldn't comment on such drama too much. Should I choose to not be a part of any of it? I think it's more like current events, true crime, not stuff that's years old and solved already. Bet they are in denial, but they are in denial. Um, you mean the topics that I've gone through, current events, true crime, yeah, and the others seem to find a hot case, and then they just focus on that hot case for as long as they possibly can. Be that Summer Wells or Gabby Petito or Chris Watts. But yeah, Natasha Cooper, I believe her channel grew massively by focusing on Gabby Petito. Um, and I believe she's made a lot of money from doing that, a lot of donations. And in some ways, I think good for you. I think that's great to be able to do that. But she has this seedy aspect to her, seemingly, from what I can ascertain. And again, she's a convicted fraudster, if I believe. Yes, you are current. Yeah, Robert. Robert. Robert knows me, Infinite, from another channel, and White Cis Male channel. I talk about politics, and we share similar political views. So the true crime thing is new to me, but Robert, I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying going through the topics. I'm finding it. I don't know what the word is, but there's something. I'll say cleansing about it. It's probably not the right word, but there's something grounding about um, reading through these subjects because they are horrific and they do put you in or push you towards an empathetic frame of mind. They kind of take you out of yourself, or th- it makes my brain go into a different area than it otherwise would. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. The subjects that I go over, they are interesting, but there's something more than just being interesting. There's something I don't know. It's. I mean, they're very very sad cases, situations. They're extremely sad, so you can't say it's enjoyable. But it just, I don't know. It just does something to your soul to read through these and to feel that empathy, I guess, um, which I otherwise wouldn't feel. Otherwise, I'd be, just thinking about my own life, my own situation, or these stupid, crazy things that are happening in the world. Whereas, yeah, it's kind of, yeah, grounding and I don't know what the right word is, but yeah, interesting too. The not old and stale. Yeah, some people do like to just go into the one topic in great depth, whatever the topic happens to be. I've never been able to do that, Robert. I just don't have the interest level. I lose interest very, very quickly. So I rather expose myself to a breadth of different knowledge than, just get your microscope out and overanalyze any specific topic. These stories keep you grounded and aware of your surroundings. Yes, I feel the groundedness, and I can't really say that it's increasing my awareness of my surroundings because I'm very much a homebody in any case. Um, but yeah, you're right, Infinite. Takes a humble man to put himself in someone else's shoes. Right. Well, that's what empathy is, really, isn't it? It's I think viewing a situation from someone else's point of view, um, and it does seem humbling. Better to lose interest quickly than your clothing quickly. Well, depends if there's a threesome happening or not. If there are, then you can lose your clothing as quick as you like. Um, and I guess I might as well wrap things up there. So thanks the pair of you for joining. Thanks very much, Infinite, for contributing as much as you have, and with nice, well thought out comments. Couple of salty ones, but that's okay. And Robert, of course, you know that I treasure your company, so appreciate that. I'll wrap things up at this point. Come back again, and yeah, we'll just see. I don't really know how to do these live streams. I don't know what's a good thing to do or what's a bad thing to do. But I guess I'll try to figure it out, and we'll see what happens. So enjoy your wine, Infinite. Enjoy your tea, Robert, and you guys have a great rest of your night.